What's cracking, y'all? Welcome to I Am Boo, and thanks for stepping through. Here with our Fantastic Four spoiler talk. I'm not going to call it a spoiler review because I'm not going to touch on all the things that I did in my non-spoiler review. So if you want to see more of a review type of video, I'll put the link to that in the description of this video. So let's get into it. Overall, I did enjoy the movie. I thought it was good. I thought it was one of the better Marvel movies since Endgame, without a doubt. Characters were solid. Acting was solid. Plot was solid. Everything was more or less solid. I didn't have a really big issue. Of course, I could find things and nitpick about things that don't make sense or probably wouldn't happen that way realistically in this fictional world. But when it comes to these superhero movies, everyone's going to have some level of suspension of disbelief, or you're just not going to believe any of it. But a story has to be told. Like, I go into that understanding it. So let me just say this. The plot was nothing like what I thought it was going to be before going into it. After watching the Thunderbolts and viewing that end credits scene where we see the Fantastic Four ship, spacecraft, whatever, heading towards Earth 616, that's where the MCU resides, I thought for sure I had it all figured out. I thought in this movie that the Fantastic Four were going to fail saving their Earth, I believe Earth 828, but saving their Earth from Galactus, and Galactus would devour their Earth and they would escape. And they would find refuge or be going to Earth to warn them, because maybe they found out that Earth 616 was next, marked by the Silver Surfer, and they would be either going to that Earth for refuge or to give them warning that Galactus is coming. But absolutely that was not the case. I was completely wrong. I wasn't even close. The Fantastic Four have been Fantastic Fouring for several years now in their world, living their family life, saving people, blah, 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 blah. Eventually, the Silver Surfer shows up, tells them that their planet has been marked as a full course meal for Galactus. Of course, there's a lot of questions once the world and the Fantastic Four acknowledges Silver Surfer's message sent from Galactus. And by tracing Silver Surfer's energy signature, they're able to confirm that every planet she visited now has been devoured and that she is not bluffing. They're also able to pinpoint Galactus's location by tracing her signature as well. At this point, they chart a course for that energy signature to confront Galactus face to face and hopefully make a compromise or talk him down or reason with him somehow. And at this point, shit gets real Star Warsy, real Star Trekky, where the Fantastic Four basically get into their spaceship, leave Earth. They got the whole support of the world behind them. They start going into hyperspace, hyperspeed, light speed travel, all that stuff. I was down for it, going through wormholes and all that stuff. I was down for it. It was pretty cool. I'm all for that type of sci-fi. So at which point they get to the location of Galactus, and if I remember correctly, right when they get there, he's pretty much just finishing off or in the process of devouring another planet. You know, their spaceship approaches him. Silver Surfer comes out. Galactus scans the ship, and then he scans the pregnant belly of Sue, Invisible Woman, and sees the baby. At which point, he pulls them into a ship and brings them to him. And at this point, I find out what this story is all about. Galactus is more interested in Franklin Richards, the baby of Reed Richards and Sue Storm, because this baby has some type of cosmic powers. The baby is extremely OP, and by Galactus obtaining this baby, he can then rest and live a peaceful life. Galactus is succumbed to this life driven by hunger, where he has to continually feast on planets. And the baby can take up the mantle of the devourer of Earths, and Galactus doesn't have to worry about it anymore. Now, what this means for Galactus exactly, I don't know. I'm not saying the movie needed to explain that, but I'm just not familiar with the Fantastic Four comics that much. I'm a Doctor Doom guy. I love Doom. Doom is my favorite villain, Marvel or DC, but I just don't follow specifically the comics that closely. I just do a lot of research and a lot of lore on Doctor Doom. So let's just say Galactus was able to obtain Franklin, and he doesn't have to be the devourer of planets anymore. Does Galactus just disappear into some different form? Does he remain the same, but he doesn't need to feed on planets anymore? I don't know. Does he go to some sanctuary where celestials and gods hang out? I don't know. And I get it. I know Galactus is not celestial, but you get what I mean. You Fantastic Four people, you probably know this. What happens to Galactus once he doesn't have to devour the planets anymore? Has this ever happened in comic book lore? I don't know. What happens when he's actually free of his duties? Let me know in the comment section. But anyway, Galactus is like, yo, I want the baby. You give me the baby, then I'll spare your Earth. One baby for the entire planet. Of course, Mom and Pops ain't about that. Mr. Fantastic Invisible Woman's like, hell no, you can't have our baby. That shit is not happening at all. They start attacking his ship and they get the hell up out of there. Now, I can't remember it. I don't know if Galactus needed an answer right then and there on the spot. But as they're trying to escape, of course, Silver Surfer is now in hot pursuit. And she's on their ass. And I love it because we actually got to see Silver Surfer surf in this movie. I mentioned this in my movie review. She's not just flying around on her board. She's actually like surfing on debris, surfing on different biomes, surfing on different kinds of matter, all kinds of things. And it's really, really, really cool. Surfing down wormholes, all that stuff. It was a nice touch. I got to give it to him. And there was a specific scene during the chase where Sue Storm, and I did not expect this, but I liked it, but I don't know if Fantastic Four fans are going to like it. Sue Storm tells Johnny Storm, the Human Torch, to kill her. She says, this bitch wants my baby. She needs to die. Johnny, kill her. And I was like, Now, hardcore Fantastic Four fans might call this character assassination. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not a hardcore fan. I don't know what Sue would or wouldn't do based on comic book lore. But, you know, I think any mother would say that for somebody trying to abduct their child and take their child from them. I think any mother would say that. So regardless, I don't think I have a problem with that, man. That's just a mother being protective of her child, an unborn child at that. Well, a child that's literally about to be born during this chase scene. I think it's an accurate depiction of what a mom would do, but y'all let me know in the comment section. They ultimately escape Silver Surfer by some clever misdirection, cloaking the ship and tricking Silver Surfer, and you know, they're able to ditch her at that point. Now, the Fantastic Four get back to Earth safely. Now, in the movie, it said that they've been away for a month, which leads me to believe that time moves slower on Earth 828 as opposed to where they were wherever in space. Because it only felt like a day or maybe even a couple hours that we were with the Fantastic Four when they went through hyperspace to find Galactus. So that was interesting. So the Fantastic Four land, and of course, they're distraught. A lot just happened. And everybody on Earth is waiting. A whole press conference, reporters everywhere, cameras, microphones, all this stuff. And they automatically assume that they went out there and defeated Galactus. So they start getting fielded with questions. How did you guys beat Galactus? How does it feel to beat the Galactus? You know, how does it feel to know that you saved Earth once again? All this stuff. And they are just like, oh my God. Cameras in their face. No statement planned for this. They probably weren't expecting to get bombarded so quickly. No PR team, nothing. And as smart as Reed Richards is, he's not always street smart. You know what I'm saying? He is the smartest guy on the planet, but certain things he cannot compute or understand how to attack appropriately. But he can't lie either. So he contemplates a little bit and he just straight out, flatly, bluntly tells the truth. And of course, after telling the whole world that Galactus will spare everyone if we give him our baby, of course the rest of the world is like, and you did not give him the baby? One baby for an entire planet? and the world kind of turns on the Fantastic Four. I thought that was interesting. I thought that was very interesting. I liked it. They're like, you better give that goddamn baby up. What are you, crazy? We got our own children. We got our own families. We're talking about millions and millions and hundreds of millions of people on this earth. You better give that goddamn baby up. And if not, you better find a goddamn way. Now, at this point, you got to have suspension of disbelief because, you know, weeks go by, days go by, weeks, months, whatever. And in real life, it's a movie, I get it. But in real life, you have got to imagine. In real life, you've got to imagine that there would have been people storming the Fantastic Four headquarters, their home, to kidnap this baby and bring it to Galactus. You have got to imagine the Fantastic Four would have been targeted 24/7 by people trying to abduct this baby to save the world. They say, we're not going to let you decide, Fantastic Four. We're deciding for you. We're going to snatch that baby if you're not going to give it up. Come on, man. There would have been people climbing the building, parachuting onto their balcony. I would also have to imagine that Reed Richards has some type of force field for that. But yeah, you get what I mean. I also forgot to mention, I should have said this earlier. In this world, they're not just a superhero team, but they're also part of a government entity called the Future Foundation that is held together by, I guess you could say, the innovation and inventions by Reed Richards. It's kind of an establishment that promotes and establishes world peace. And the Future Foundation, I guess if I remember correctly, is kind of like a collection of all the nations, the United Nations, basically. And in this world, it appears that the Fantastic Four aren't just the heroes of, you know, retro futuristic New York, but they are the heroes of the entire world. There's no mention of any other superheroes on this planet. It's just other villains. But there's this particular scene where there was a gathering of the United Nations, and every nation was there except Latveria. And they show Latveria, the seat was empty, and I think there was a flag placed there, and I was like, interesting. Now, if you don't know, Dr. Doom is the ruler of Latveria. I don't know if this was just an Easter egg. I don't know if this means that there is an actual Dr. Doom in this world ruling over Latveria. And if there is, how did he become Dr. Doom? Where did he come from? Because it's stated in the movie that only 4 astronauts went into space, not 5, and 4 came back. So we know Dr. Doom was not on that spacecraft with them. So I don't know if it's just an Easter egg or there's actually a Doom on this planet somewhere. And if there is, there's a lot of questions I have. We'll talk more about Doom later. I'll talk about the end credit scene at the end of this video. By the way, I love the Thing's beard. I absolutely love it. He should never shave that beard. Obviously, I'm a beard guy. Ben Grimm with the beard, perfect. Absolutely perfect. So Mr. Fantastic eventually comes up with a plan to teleport Earth to a different solar system, I guess, to hide from Galactus. Now, earlier in the movie, they show that Reed Richards was experimenting with teleportation on a much smaller scale. He was able to teleport an egg a short distance to another location in the room. So he calls upon the support of the world to gather the resources and the materials to build these transportation devices on a much larger scale, and everybody practice extreme energy reservation, asking people to consume the least amount of energy as possible so that they can have the power to move Earth away from Galactus. And of course, over time, over months, they were able to build these pillars, these stations throughout the world. And basically, whenever it's go time, they all power them up and they were able to move the Earth somewhere else. Now, during this time, Galactus is in hot pursuit, heading towards Earth, and they're able to trace his signature and say, hey, all right, Galactus was just spotted by Jupiter. Galactus was just spotted by Mars. We got X amount of days. Galactus is coming. Let's get the work done. Let's finish it. People do what they gotta do. Now, before Galactus gets here, they're able to build all these stations and they're ready to power up and send Earth elsewhere. Now, this part I find funny because I don't know, there had to have been over 30, 40, 50 of these things around the world. No hiccups mentioned. You'd have to imagine that at least somewhere someone did something wrong, or maybe not even do something wrong. Sometimes electronics just go bad. Like, no malfunctions anywhere, no setbacks anywhere, no lack of resources and materials anywhere. Of course, they gotta tell the movie. I get it. Suspension of disbelief. And right before they're about to power everything up and get the hell out of there, Silver Surfer pulls up and starts destroying the pillars, the towers, and now they are unable to move Earth. And now Galactus has arrived. He pulls up, looking for baby Franklin Richards. And at this point, the Fantastic Four devised a plan to put a fake baby carriage in I guess you could say, a kill zone, a kill spot, where they now set up one of those pillars so that when Galactus steps over there to pick up the baby, or pick up the fake baby, they can teleport Galactus out of their Earth somewhere else. Pretty clever, actually. I like the plan. Long story short, before Galactus steps into the trap, he realizes that it is a trap. He scans the environment. He then finds the real baby, and now he's in hot pursuit. During this time, of course, the Fantastic Four are just trying to stop him. Now, up to this point, there has been no fight scenes throughout this movie. If you are looking for a action-packed superhero movie, this is not it. You will not find the Fantastic Four doing much hand-to-hand combat. You'll have some chase scenes, and that's about it. In the beginning of the movie, they were introducing these characters by showing them clips of what they did in the past in short segments. You might have seen them fight a few bad guys. That was about, I don't know, 3 to 5 seconds each, so it wasn't much of anything. It was just a recap to show that these guys have been protecting the Earth. So there's been no fighting. And even them trying to fight Galactus or stop Galactus, it was extremely underwhelming. The Human Torch pulls up, he's shooting fire in his eyes, blinds him for a little bit, but really not doing any significant damage. The Thing is trying to do shit, really not doing anything. Mr. Fantastic really isn't doing anything. Really, you really don't see any of these people use their powers much, except for the Human Torch, who has several scenes of him, saving a fire, buildings on fire, or him flame on, chasing a Silver Surfer or approaching a Silver Surfer. You see him use his powers the most, and then the Invisible Woman doing little things here and there. Nothing that'll have you in awe or groundbreaking. And we rarely see Mr. Fantastic stretch, but when he does, the CGI looks good, and the Thing doesn't do a whole lot of clobbering. It is what it is. So they're trying to stop this guy from getting the baby and getting out of here, but they're not having much success. It's actually funny how powerful Galactus is. He picks up the Thing, and he tosses him. I figured he'd toss him, I don't know, a couple thousand yards. He tosses the Thing out of planet Earth, out of Earth's atmosphere. And the Thing is just going and going and going. I'm like, all right, eventually we're going to see an arc and he's going to start going down towards Earth. No, he's just direct line out of the planet line. Oh my God. Of course, the Human Torch flies out to save him. Now, again, Fantastic Four fans, cue me in on this. Twice in this movie, I see the Human Torch leave Earth's atmosphere into space. I didn't know he could do that. I didn't know he could survive in space. I thought the effects of zero gravity and no atmosphere and no air would kill him like it would anybody else, but apparently not. Y'all let me know in the comment section. So Galactus is trying to dip with this baby after he acquires it. And then this part had me like, what the hell? I was like, is Galactus nerfed in this movie? Or is Sue Storm just so OP? Sue Storm is able to significantly restrict Galactus's movements as he's trying to escape with her powers. Now, I don't know if she just went like Omega level because she's like, damn, I gotta tap into my full potential, even if it kills me, to stop this guy from leaving with my baby. And she was actually able to restrain Galactus to some degree before he was able to snap out of her force field grip. But I was just like, we're talking about Galactus here. I understand she's having her inner moment where now she's, letting out all her true powers, but still, this is Galactus. I mean, Sue Storm, out here having somewhat success. I don't want to say soloing Galactus, but restraining him. I'm like, okay, I guess the power of an angry mom is something that should not be tampered with. But of course, she dies in her effort. It was actually pretty sad. Oh God, I forgot I'm scatterbrained. Rewind. So I forgot to mention this. Silver Surfer pulls up out of nowhere, hits Galactus into this black hole, and takes him out of Earth before he could do any damage. Now you're probably wondering, because I skipped over this part, forgot to mention it, why did Silver Surfer turn her back on Galactus? Well, that part was kind of put together fairly flimsily, if I'm going to be honest. Earlier in the movie, when the Human Torch is chasing Silver Surfer, after she sends the message, she says something to him before she kicks him back to Earth, right? Through research and space probing, he's able to realize that they've heard her message or heard her language before from her planet. And he's able to study a foreign language from Silver Surfer's planet based on a small library of audio samples he has. And even if it was a decent library of samples, we're talking about a whole language here. And he's able to study this and become fluent in her native language. And by doing that, he takes all these audio samples and then he broadcasts it to the Silver Surfer when she comes back again, all over these giant CRT TVs. And she's listening to the broadcast and she stops in her place and he's like, yeah, I can speak your language. I know some of your story. You saved your planet by being Galactus's herald to devour other planets. But just like your planet, we have a planet too. Just like you have family and loved ones, we have loved ones too. So you should spare us. She starts screaming and then she disappears and she doesn't come back till the end. And I guess she had some self-reflection to do, and then she decides to send Galactus out of there and attack Galactus. Very flimsy if you ask me, but whatever. It just doesn't make any sense. Like, this whole time, all these millions of years, however many years she's been Galactus's herald, this isn't new information. She knows that she's devouring other planets just to save her own, killing millions, killing billions, having her hand in it. So just by him saying this, now she has a change of heart all of a sudden? You're telling me other planets didn't, convey the same message to her? You're telling me she never had this heart-to-heart with herself? That what she was doing is probably immoral and not right? Like, it just didn't make any sense. Now, Sue Storm is dead, right? Galactus is gone with the Silver Surfer. They're not dead. I'm sure they're floating in space somewhere. Guess he'll have to get a new ship. I don't know. We'll figure out. Sure, he'll return again. So I was like, well, are they going to really kill Sue Storm in the first movie? Now, part of me is like, they're definitely not going to do that. But the other part of me is like, well, the baby's born. So maybe the next time we see them, the baby's a teenager, and here is your new Fantastic Four. Franklin Richards takes the spot of his mother. Or Sue Storm comes back to life, she's not really dead, and now we have the Fantastic Five moving forward. Of course, Franklin Richards, OP, the baby brings his mom back to life with whatever magical cosmic powers the baby has. The baby can thwart death. And it's funny, in the movie, they actually teased my Fantastic Five idea. And they were like, nope, too young. So let's just say this movie is a trilogy. I figured by the third movie, it would be called Fantastic Five, and I would assume that the baby's old enough to be a part of the superhero gang. I'm calling it right here. The third movie in this trilogy will be the Fantastic Five. Now, I just want to say this. For a superhero movie, not to have much action, like it really did. I said this. You came to the wrong movie. Go watch Superman if you want to see a lot of fights and brawling. This is not the movie. For having a severe lack of combat scenes, I was still invested the whole time. The story was good enough. The action was good enough. I was invested. I wanted to see what happened. And they didn't really lose me in any part of the movie. So the movie was still solid, all things considered. Like, it wasn't until after the movie I was like, oh shit, I didn't really get to see these guys do anything. I barely got to see any of these guys use their powers. It wasn't something that was on my mind or bothering me as I was watching the movie. All right, let's get to Doctor Doom. Mid-credit scene. The kid is like 4 years old now. It's 4 years later. Sue Storm is chilling with the kid, the toddler. She steps away, goes into the kitchen. She feels something is wrong. She feels a disruption in the force. A disturbance in the force, excuse me. She feels a disturbance in the force. She goes back, and there you have Doctor Doom sitting down with the kid. All you see is the back of him. So you see his cloak, the cape, the green, and then in one of his hands he has his mask. And then it pretty much cuts from that point. What does this mean? I don't know. Is this the Doom from their planet that was never mentioned? Does that tie into the empty chair at the council meeting? I don't know. Is this Tony Stark's Doom that we're getting in Doomsday? Did he somehow get word of Franklin Richards and decided to come to this Earth 828 to snatch up Franklin for its cosmic powers? I don't know. I have no idea. Is the Tony Stark Doom the Doom from Earth 828, if there is a Doom on Earth 828? I don't know. I don't know any of this. There's so many possibilities here. So we're only gonna find out, I guess. What's the next Marvel movie? Is Doomsday? Is Avengers Doomsday the next movie slated after this? It did say we'll see the Fantastic Four again in Doomsday, but I don't know if there's anything in between. If that's the case, then we will find out in Avengers Doomsday what exactly the hell is going on with Doctor Doom. What is his origins? Where is he from? How did he find out about this planet if he's not from this planet? Why does he want Franklin Richards? Or if he doesn't want Franklin Richards, why is he coming to this planet? And now I have another question. After seeing Doom, who the hell is actually in that ship heading towards Earth? What if it's Doctor Doom? What if he hijacked the ship? I don't know anymore. Or now it could be the Fantastic Four alerting Earth that Doom is coming. But why would Doom be coming? So many questions. I want to say this about Doom. I did not like that mask. I did not like that mask at all. It was very shiny. It was very reflective. That is not how I like Doom's mask to look. I like that matte gray, solid steel with the bolts in it. I like that Doctor Doom mask. It was glossy. It was shiny. It looked like it came off Silver Surfer's face. I did not like that mask. I hope that is not the design they go with Doctor Doom. I really do not. I really do not. As a Doom guy, I really do not. Y'all let me know in the comment section. Anyway, that's all I got for the spoiler talk. I liked the movie. It was good. It was interesting. I recommend it for anybody. I think having this drop and Superman this summer is great for all comic book fans all over. In my opinion, two very solid movies this summer to hold down the superhero genre. I absolutely love it. Anyway, thanks for stopping in. I appreciate you guys for taking your time to hang out with me. I know I'm pretty scatterbrained. I'm not the best with these kinds of things, but I do my best. Appreciate you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, stay notified, and I'll catch you on the next one. We out, baby.
Keep the change, you filthy animal.